You can go.
Okay, it is approximately 6:30. I will call the Merrillville Plan Commission meeting to order, and we will all stand and pledge allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will continue on with the meeting now. And let's see, I will call the meeting to order. We had the pledge of allegiance. We will have the roll call. Mr. Lynch, our secretary.
Mr. Mellon, I'm showing absent. Mr. Rich?
Here.
Mr. Holtz?
Here.
Mr. Pettit?
Here.
I am here. Mr. Jerring?
Here.
And Madam President.
I am here. Thank you. Continuing on with our minutes of October 19th, 2021. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Pettit. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rich. The minutes of the meeting are approved with motions. Thank you.
We need a voice vote, Madam
Oh,
President.
we need a voice vote. Thank you, John. Take a voice vote, Jeff. By name, right?
Okay. Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Holtz?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
I'm yes. Mr. Jerring?
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes. Thank you. Continuing on with old business. Item 1, P5P, P 0921. Jarper Properties LLC petitioner and owner, located at US 30 and Morton Street, that requests preliminary planned unit development approval on 17.18 acres in an R2 residential zoning district. Purpose, residential planned unit development. Is someone here representing Jarper Properties? Please, hi, give us your program again. You've been at the workshop, everything seemed in order? Okay, do you have anything else to tell us? Introduce your name.
My name is Ryan Toringa, representing Toringa Engineering. I was working on the project. Nothing new to add. We've, submitted all the documents with the revisions that were required of us. We just received another revision or some comments this afternoon, which we were unable to complete, but they were very minor in scope, nothing with any major design changes that we could see. So we believe that we'll fully be able to accomplish all of that.
So everything is still the same as at the workshop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say?
Not particularly. I've got some documents here that I was instructed to bring, if you would so like to look at them, including what the houses would look like that are planning to be built, as well as plan sheets with landscaping attached, if you would like to see them.
Sure. I think the board would like to look at it.
Oh, okay.
While he's handing those out, Madam Chairman, could we get the staff report?
Sure, definitely.
Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plan unit development in an R2 residential zoning district on 17.18 acres to be known as August Manor. Petitioner is proposing 54-unit development will have sanitary sewers, curb and gutters, street common water, storm sewers, and street lights. Surface water will be discharged along existing channels with subdivision retention. Inspire Group LLC will not be going through with the adjoining development. Petitioner has adjusted the site plan due to this change. Petitioner also met with Steve and Sheila Shine regarding the open space ordinance. This adjustment has also been made to the site plan. Engineers have sent comments to the petitioner.
Is that it, Sheila?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, looking at the
Thank you.
These look like bi-levels, 2 levels, and what do you have, 1 ranch in here?
Does that have the lot sizes?
Okay.
I
And
believe
when did you want to start building?
I believe the plan, as far as I know, is to start the building as soon as they finish the construction of the subdivision itself, the roads and everything.
Okay.
They gotta put
I will ask questions and comments from the board.
square
Luke,
footage.
Rich,
Nothing at this time.
I think it's,
Nothing.
I
Mr.
think
Holt?
it's the square footage.
This is just preliminary work.
Yeah, preliminary.
Yep.
I know there was a concern for the parking. How big are the driveways? Kinda hard to tell. Is there enough for 2 cars on a driveway and then? Because our biggest concern was the
Yeah.
really no parking on the street other than what you're adding. And those little, I don't know if you want to, diagonal, yeah.
I believe the parking looks to be approximately 20 feet wide, which would allow for 2 cars. Yeah, the building plans that you got were for the 35 feet, and the plan was to actually have 2 of the buildings side by side connected on each lot to create a 70-foot wide building of 2 units.
does that answer your question, Mr. Holt?
I was just trying to think, were they supposed to try to make the street parking larger?
Yeah, I think there was questions about that, Rich.
We had questions at the workshop about that. I think you were going to meet with Steve or Bob on the
Yeah.
parking. Am I correct?
Yeah, so we did have some questions about the parking area, the driveways and things like that. Parking was
I
a.
think Steve should answer that question. Go on, Steve, about the
Okay,
parking.
yeah, okay. So parking is a major concern of mine. The thing of it is I got an email, a little while ago from Nancy from Turinga. Apparently, I mean, I don't know how it's gonna affect this plan until we, dig into it a little bit more, but they've been using the wrong town standards. They didn't have our current town standards. As a matter of fact, what Nancy sent me is, I have no idea when these standards were even done, but at the time, the standards that they were using for the town, Albert Wirtz was the town council president at the time.
Wow, how long ago was that?
I have no, it's
I
not
don't
dated.
even remember him.
It's not dated.
No.
So there's, yeah, there were some things in the plans that didn't quite add up, and after getting this email, I understand why, because I would say these could be as old as 30 years.
Yeah.
And the thing when you're
Really?
talking engineering standards, they're ever evolving. I mean, ours were last updated, the towns were in 2017, so, and they evolve every year. So they were using some wrong information, I think, when they did some of the, design here. So
So are you suggesting that should be corrected?
we'll get it
Right?
we'll get it corrected with Turinga.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's gonna be some, probably some minor changes, not major, but they were using some wrong information.
Well, keep in mind, folks, that preliminary is the nuts and bolts of the PUD.
Right.
The final is preparing a Mylar and Joe drafting the ordinance that goes on to the council as a zone change. So now is the time, no offense, guys, to browbeat these guys and make sure everything is done properly, to Bob and Steve.
Yeah.
So if there's any hesitation, I'll tell you right now, Madam President, the motion on my mind is to defer this for 30 days.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it sounds like if we got a design standard, I have another question that Joe Joe doesn't come to the workshops, but on August Manor, Joe, I brought up the length of that cul-de-sac that we need to, are we going to need to identify that as a part of the PD approval? Because that's longer than 600 feet. If you look at those drawings.
Yep.
So that's got to be a condition of the PUD.
Yeah.
Is that we're relaxing that standard in the subdivision control ordinance.
It is longer, you're right.
One other item, if I can add, is we're still looking at the technical review as far as the drainage conveyance and so forth. So those should be completed within the next day or two. So that's going to be in addition to what Mr. Turinga has received today. And then we just needed to verify if there's anything on the fire department's end, if they had any other concerns. So we're waiting to hear that as well.
Well,
Does that answer your question, Mr. Hope?
Some of them, but it's just that I know now that there's the engineering standards, how far off are they? So, I mean, preliminary, just allowing them to have the subdivision, that's one thing. But after that, we still got to get the,
yeah, that,
No,
I
we
think
have
that
to
would
get
have been
everything correct
conceptual.
Right.
at preliminary.
Yeah, it's gotta be
So,
correct.
Defer for 30 days at least.
Yep.
Let them go back and retune their plan, and then from there we can go forward.
Madam President, I make a motion, we defer P15 PP2-0921 for 30 days.
Second,
second,
We have a motion on the floor made by Mr. Pettit and seconded by Brian Daring that we defer until what date?
30 days, till next plan
For
commission.
30 days until the next plan commission.
Now, I don't know, Madam President, there are people in the audience, I don't know if you're here for this petition.
Is anybody here to remonstrate against this petition
or for this
or
petition.
for the petition? Anybody here?
Here, he's raising his hand.
Who? Oh, okay.
Ken.
You're here. You're
Well,
with
again,
development.
keep in mind that preliminary, this was an advertised public hearing, correct,
Right.
Sheila?
Yes.
So this is the time for the public to speak, because once it gets to final, it's not a public hearing.
So we would open a public hearing, announce 3 times, and then close the public
Yes,
hearing.
thank you, Brian. We will open the public hearing. Is there
Please let him
anybody here
speak.
from the
He's
public
eager to
hearing?
speak here.
Oh, you're eager to speak? Okay, he's part of the public hearing. Okay, continue.
My name is Ken Peach. I am involved in this with Charter Properties. I'm working with Mr. Perino on this, and I appreciate your concerns. But before we defer this until the next meeting, are there any other issues that need to be addressed? So if you guys want to take a moment and do a full review, so that we have a list of things, so that when we come back next time, all of a sudden, something doesn't pop up. Because
Well,
I'm
Well,
looking,
before
I'm-
you come back next time, you probably should meet with Steve
And Bob
and Bob, our engineers.
Our
And they
professionals,
would let you-
our professional staff will let you know.
And there could be other comments,
Yeah.
Ken, as far as the drainage. I mean, that's being evaluated now, so that's what issues we're gonna have there. We won't know till, Mr. Dykstra finishes his review, either, tomorrow or the
well,
following
I
day.
just, because
Well,
this driveway thing was news.
Well, no, and here's the thing. We talked about the driveway at the workshop. That was brought up at the workshop. Mr. Holtz brought it up, I brought it up, okay? Mr. Pettit expounded on it, okay? So the driveways are well-known that we have a problem with the driveways.
missed out on
It's
that.
also, we have a problem with the way the parking is being done in these donuts that you've got. I'm just trying to figure out how they would have 30-year-old design standards when I can go on my iPhone and bring the current standards up right now.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I'm
that,
just-
that makes no sense to me
Yeah.
whatsoever.
I don't know.
You're
when
asking
they
for an
did it.
accommodation where we lengthen the distance of the cul-de-sac.
Correct.
That's allowable in a PUD if everybody agrees,
Yeah.
okay? But we've got to have all of these nuts and bolts worked out. There's the engineer, there's our professional
Yeah.
staff. They're the ones that will work with you, but again, this should have been done months ago.
Well,
Again, I don't know how you could have design standards from when Mr. Wertz was on the town council.
well, yeah, that I don't know.
You know, you go to townofmerrillville.com, you hit the ordinance book, and there it is. You know, it downloads it right now. I can do it in about 30 seconds.
Well, I think they know, they have to meet with Steve and Bob now and go over all of this that we talked about, including the parking
All right?
and The street lights, you have street lighting in there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we got to solve the parking issue, we've got to solve the driveway issue, we've got to talk about the length of the cul-de-sac, we've got to talk about the turning radiuses, all to current standards. We've got to talk about the drainage, we got to talk about the open
Open space.
parcel of land.
Well, also, the fire department needs to be involved in terms of the cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Yep,
Turn around, right?
yep. And also the preservation of the old oak trees at your entrance. There's a lot of things there that have been brought up for a number of months. This isn't your first time here. These things have been brought up all along. All 7 of us have brought things up, and each one should have been addressed by now. Now to find out that it's 30-year-old standards, you got to do a rush job in 30 days to have this thing ready.
Very good. All right. Any other questions?
We have a motion and a second.
Second
President.
on the floor.
We also have an open, public hearing. We have to, announce,
We had an
yep.
open public hearing also at,
Is there anyone else?
is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or against the development? Not hearing anything? Everybody in favor of?
Close the hearing.
it? I close the hearing. Everybody in favor of the motion?
Well, hold on,
For-
there's.
Yes.
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
want to speak? I wanted to know what they were going to do for the drainage.
Ma'am, you need to come over and, speak, announce your name and your address, and, ask your question.
Yes.
This is all on the public record, that's why we need this.
Are you a resident of the Fourth Ward, ma'am?
Yes,
And what is your address?
2945 West 85th Court, Merrillville.
Okay.
So you're south of
Crescent Lake.
30?
Yes.
Okay.
Are
And-
you in Crescent Lake, ma'am?
No, I'm in Chapel Hill Farms.
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. And what is your name?
Naomi Vinson.
Okay, and what is your question?
I want to know what they're going to do for the drainage, like if they're going to have a pond or what were they going to put back there for a detention pond or something?
Well, you know, this is on the north side of 30, right?
Right,
In the old Broadmoor Country Club,
Right. the old
facility.
Broadmoor Country Club area.
I don't know about the Broadmoor.
I think, Madam President, she got a notice for the next petition, which is Mr. Terpstra off of Taney Place. If she's in
Yes.
Chapel Hill
Oh,
Farms,
Did you
Taney.
get some
Okay.
type of notice?
Yeah,
that's,
Yeah, this is the
Pertaining.
wrong,
Oh,
this is the
you're
wrong.
wrong
in the
petition, ma'am,
development.
sorry.
Okay, we're at the wrong place.
Yep,
Yeah,
we'll
you're-
let
no,
we'll let
you're-
you get
you're
back
next.
up.
You're next.
Next
Okay.
matter.
Well, getting back to Jarper.
Anybody
Jarper
else?
Properties,
And then
we had
close
a
the
motion
public
on the
hearing.
floor and a second to defer the meeting for 30 days.
Madam Chairman, we need to close the public hearing.
We have to close the public hearing too, which I have our counselor reminding me. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Now, is everybody in favor of the motion? I'll take a voice call,
Roll call,
voice,
roll call vote.
roll call vote.
Yep.
Roll call vote. Mr. Minchuk?
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Holtz?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Deering?
Yes,
Madam President?
Yes.
6 yeses.
Okay, the roll call vote has been approved with 6 yeses, and so your development is going to be deferred for 30 more days, so please meet with Bob and Steve on the questions that we have asked,
They should.
okay?
Thank you very much.
And thank you too for attending. Continuing on with new business. Okay, this is item 2,
Z21.
Z21, FP2.
No,
dash 1121.
trust me, it wasn't because she
Fred
wasn't happy with
Terpstra
it.
petitioner and
was
owner
gold.
request, located at 8221 Taney Place, lot 61. The final mixed-use planned unit development approval for lot 61 in Heritage North on 2 acres. Purpose, Culver Restaurant, Office, and Dry Storage. Is Mr. Terpstra here?
Mr. Terpstra is not going to be here this evening, but his engineer is.
Oh, okay, would you please take the stand and identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm Brian Belashopka with Garcia Consulting, doing the engineering plans.
Okay, good. We had you at the workshop at our last.
Yeah, I was, and I attended the workshop, yes.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and present your plan again?
Well, it was the, yeah, the, proposed office space that he's, like to build at 8221 Taney. I think, are we just here to approve the plat? We've got some minor comments back today for the site plans that we will address.
What kind of comments did you get back today?
I haven't fully reviewed it yet. We've got it later in the afternoon, but just minor comments on the engineering plans. Nothing for the subdivision.
Madam Chairman,
Mark? Go ahead, Bob.
I actually provided some comments to Garcia Consulting today, and it's some basic cleanup of the plans and adding some various different, stormwater pollution prevention plan information. So it's not anything critical. It's all things that we can work out.
Very, very minor.
Okay. So it's nothing critical. Oh, sorry. Well, let me review with the board. Mr. Rich, you have any questions or comments?
No, nothing at this time.
Mr. Holt?
No, nothing at the time.
Mr. Bryant?
And I think this goes more towards the question that the young lady was asking. If we could get from engineering, both ours and Robinson, a little bit of the history of this. I know that Skip and John had planned on these light industrial or office buildings, for lack of a better term, for many years, and it was in their original PUD when they pitched it to build Heritage North, Tom and Ed's, and the other facilities over there. Could you go into a little bit of the history for the drainage so that we put these folks' questions at ease?
Sure, Mr. Deering.
Thank you.
As you had indicated, this was all a pre-developed site to accommodate these different types of businesses and industrial buildings. So the site was actually engineered to take on all the conveyance, stormwater conveyance for that area to the ponds to the west. And, that's basically how this was being designed, is it was going to tie into the existing conveyance system. And, there's no required detention ponds on this particular site because, again, the site was developed for storage, in previous years.
And that was, I believe, in about 16 that we gave the initial approval, 15 or 16, that we gave the initial approval?
I think it was
for
actually
Heritage
prior.
North?
I think it was prior to
Might
that.
even be earlier than that.
Yeah.
And that all of these were pretty much worked out at that time, taking into account any future growth into I believe it was 6 total, 3 on each side of the road.
That seems to be accurate, yes.
Yeah, behind the old Hummer racetrack and behind Bozak Dodge. So
Correct.
any of that where there should be no issue putting in what had already been planned all those years ago.
That is correct.
And I believe, Brian, I believe there was some additional work done there. Matt Lake coordinated with Mr. Baraki on that. They coordinated on some additional drainage in that area too, just recently in the past year or so. There were some
Because
issues that
Heritage
Matt
North
saw and
is pretty much built out now, is it not?
the residential.
Residential
Yeah,
side.
residential, yes.
I think there's still a few lots left, but
2
there,
lots for the
there was,
business area.
as you had mentioned, there was one particular spot, I think don't quote me on this, but maybe to the east of where this is being proposed, and Matt did require an additional detention area
Yes.
for that particular
And
part.
that was put in?
And that was,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
But this site will not go to that. It'll
Gotcha.
be at the original.
Do you have their approval from sanitary source?
Yes,
That's all what's been approved?
yes, they have that.
Because that was one of my comments, was.
Yeah.
That's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Okay, that answers all your
Yep,
questions, Brian?
Yep.
Mr. Minchuk, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Pettit?
No.
No.
This is an advertised public hearing.
Yeah, this is an advertised public hearing, so is there anybody here to speak? Anybody here to remonstrate? Anybody here?
Did that answer the question you were going to ask, ma'am? Ma'am? When you came up before, did that answer the question? Okay.
Okay, her questions are answered. Good. Anybody else here to speak? No one else to speak? Yes.
Yes,
Please
sir.
step forward to the microphone.
Hi, my name is Malcolm Holland. I represent Chapel Hill Farms, and wondering why the engineers made 82nd Avenue and Heritage so narrow, when it's only, right now, one car. The neighbors cannot park on either side of the street and without, I'm a little nervous right now.
It's okay.
That's all right. Take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
No, but 82nd Avenue, if you look at it
Gotta be.
over in Heritage North, only one car can drive through. It's supposed to be a two-lane street, and it's not enough for one car to drive through. And so I understand that you guys are going to build some extra homes on the in the area. So I just want to make sure that they do not make the same mistake again. Hope you guys understood. I'm a little nervous right now.
That's fine.
That's okay. Steve or Bob, can you answer his questions about the one or two cars?
Yeah, I mean, it's something, so you're talking 82nd right off of Taney?
Yes,
Is that what you're talking about?
yes.
I'd have to go out there and check some widths and stuff, but I'm pretty confident that was built to the residential engineering standards we have. Probably when you have cars park on both sides of the street, it probably could get a little bit narrow, and then, other issues are where you have people parking away from the curb. We have that in spots too, where they're parking 3 feet away from the curb. Not where they're supposed to be, they're out in the lane. That narrows it up too.
Well-
We can double check, I can double check the width to make sure it was built, per plan. That was put in before my time. But I can
Yeah, it's not
I can
right.
double check that. That's not a problem.
if
We can
you look at it-
pull the plans up and
Yeah,
I can double check it.
okay.
And just for benefit of your knowledge, this development is strictly a one building up towards the car dealers. It's an office
Right.
building and storage for Culver's dry goods.
Right.
So it's not going to generate a ton of traffic, and there will be no street parking at that location. And any traffic that would be coming and going to service all of the Culvers in northwest Indiana should enter and exit off of Route 30, and it would not be going through the subdivision.
Mr. Terpstra attended
Right.
workshop. He gave us a good presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll have more than 8 employees.
If you look at it again, it's a bad issue over there right now. You cannot, if the neighbors park their vehicle on either side of the street, you can't drive through there without hitting somebody.
I understand.
It's messed up.
And then that's why.
We'll
we'll
take a look at it,
for
yeah.
you.
They will check it.
Yep.
And that was
The
80,
engineers
82nd.
will sit,
We have another.
develop. Oh, we have another speaker.
I think it is 82nd place.
we'll look at
in
both.
Taney.
Please give us your name and address.
Yeah, I know where he's talking about. It's,
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Walker. I am the Heritage North HOA president, and I just wanted to clear some things up for gentlemen here.
Good.
The parking, Steve is right, it is up to code. The parking that is there for our neighborhood is up to code. The problem comes in is when you have so many cars. It's still allowing enough traffic to go back and forth. The only issue is cars go back and forth too fast. So as the president of that subdivision, the only issue I've had, and I've talked with Steve several times, we have put up stop signs. Some people adhere to them, some people do not. I have been involved with Baraki Baraki and Skip on the Culver's building. We've talked about those plans for almost a year now. As far as our subdivision, there's no issue for us at all with that building going up because, as you mentioned, it's going to be minimal traffic. That traffic will not come into Heritage North at all. There's no other things going on that I'm aware of. But I just want to clear things up. I'm sorry that I may not have made all of the meetings here as far as representing Heritage North. And the reason being, we have not had any issues that I know of. None of my neighbors have come to me with anything. So I just wanted to clear that parking issue up. Yes, we have had some issues with that because of the single-family homes in the middle have a little more parking than the connected homes. So it's something that can be worked out as long as everybody slows down.
You know, and
Well, thank you.
to be honest with you, sir, if you are having issues with people speeding through and you have problems with people blowing stop signs, we got a couple of real nice unmarked cars that'd be glad to hand out a few tickets for you. Just give our chief a call.
We do.
We're ahead of you. I've done the same thing. I'm connected with a lot of law enforcement, so we've had them sit around there doing the same thing.
Well, good.
Excellent. Thank you,
We
sir.
have a gentleman that's out there all day long, just
Yeah.
looking for what you.
So I get,
All right, thank you, guys.
Mr. Walker, I just got one question now. This traffic issue we're talking about in the cars parking along the street, you're talking, when you come up Taney, you're talking primarily on the east side, am I correct? It's not on your side.
That's correct.
It's on the other side.
That's correct. That's correct. Because those are the townhomes or connected homes, as you call them, and they don't have
Yeah.
any other place to park but in their driveway.
right.
So, yeah, that's the only problem.
Yeah.
If they park on the street, then it is kind of confined a
Yeah.
little bit.
Okay,
All right? Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Very much. Okay, I'm going to ask one more time, 3 more times. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against the project? Is there anybody else here that wants to speak or against Terpstra's project on 82nd and Taney Place?
Third time.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak or against the project? Hearing nothing, I will have to close this for a public hearing. This for a public hearing.
Throw it back to the commission. Throw it back to the commission.
No, to the board, yeah. Okay, then I will come back to the board, and I've already spoken to 3 board members. Is there anybody else who wants to speak, Mr. Pettit or Mr. Minchuk? Does our attorney have a say here? Nothing?
Madam President, motion to approve Z21 FP 2-1121.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Pettit to approve Fred Terpstra's project. Could I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Minchuk. Okay, could I have a roll call vote, please, Mr. Minchuk?
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Holtz?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. Deering?
Yes.
Madam President?
Yes. Motion approved. Thank you for attending, and I hope you work it out with the engineer.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing on with item 3, Z22Z2-1121, TMG Acquisition Disposition LLC, petitioner and long-term care investments.
6.
Investment 6, yeah, I got it, 6, LLC owner, located at 171 East 93rd Avenue. A request for zoning change from planned unit development in commercial industrial special district on 10.57 acres. Purpose, commercial industrial warehouse use. Hello, give us your name and address.
Good evening. Edward Adler, the Misner Group, 1700 West Higgins Road, Des Plaines, Illinois, 60018.
Okay.
We are, I'm sorry, as we spoke about in the workshop a couple weeks ago, we're here seeking a zoning change on the 11 acres at 171 East 93rd Avenue. It is, the acreage is adjacent, as you're all aware, to a parcel to the south that we've recently purchased and closed on, 26 acres, and adjacent just to the west and north of a 45-acre parcel, which is in the Ameriplex Business Park, which we are closing on in about 30 days. The contract yesterday in real estate language went hard. We waived all of our contingencies, and we're now just set to close basically in 30 days. So we're now just seeking basically change in zoning on this parcel, which is adjacent to the other two, so we could effectuate an overall plan for light industrial warehouses.
Good. Sheila, do you have any kind of staff report?
Yes, petitioner is requesting a zoning change approval from a planned unit development to a commercial industrial special district to be located on 10.57 acres. Petitioner would like to build a commercial or industrial building at this location. 21-107B of the Commercial Industrial Special Zoning Ordinance requires a minimum land area of 100 acres for the designation of an individual commercial industrial special district. Petitioner will be on the December Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for a variance from developmental standards.
Very good. Any comments from the board, Mr. Rich?
No.
Questions? Mr. Holtz?
I know we talked about the driveways coming in off of 93rd.
Well, again, these are preliminary plans, so we have met recently with engineering staff, talked about a couple access points earlier off of the frontage road that's just to the north of this property. But again, this is preliminary, so this is not final engineering, and the access points that we have currently all fall within the zoning, but we certainly want to work with Merrillville to make sure that we're not creating a situation of, traffic or use or areas in which that the town would not, for whatever reason, would not want us to access. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying that, sort of. I mean, we've thought about it, but again, this is a preliminary plan, so we're not at the point of sitting down and saying, okay, here's what we are gonna wanna do. Is this okay with you guys? And if not, can we figure out a better mousetrap for it?
Well, and this basically just attaches this parcel, which has been trying to be developed for years and years. I think there was 3 ahead of you. Good that you're closing on it so that, we know that it's going to actually go forward. So being that it's going to be just contiguous with all the other commercial industrial development in that area, I know that we had discussed at the workshop the problems with, the sight lines, the problems with creating more traffic, especially heavy truck traffic, coming onto 93rd. Can we direct it back out, some of it back out to the state highway? We talked about everything all the way to petitioning the state for another entrance and exit onto I-65. There's residences over there, there's other businesses over there, you've got Pinnacle Hospital over there. We really, as you're ready to build to suit, when you have a client that you're ready to build, these are all gonna be some very serious questions that we're gonna have to address at that time. So, anything that you can do prior to that to research any of this is gonna be recommended, because that'll just help speed up your petition down the road.
Fair enough.
That's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Oh, very good too, with the airplanes there and the trucks and the traffic. Yes, we had requested a light to be put there. So I don't know what's going on with that light anyway. Engineer?
The light where on
Somewhere
Broadway?
around over there by Ameriplex. We were requesting a light because of the traffic and.
Yeah, we've talked to NDOT about the light, and we haven't got very far. Talked about putting the light at 98th Avenue at the Ameriplex entrance.
Yes.
That hasn't come to fruition at this time, not yet. It's something that ourselves, the town of Merrillville, and Crown Point has had a couple meetings with NDOT. Sean had mentioned, we had just talked about this not long ago, about rekindling that conversation with NDOT.
Yep.
The last couple of weeks we had this.
The other thing for the benefit of the commission, keep in mind, when the Misner Group, if they receive this zone change from the council in next week or in 2 weeks, whatever, they will now fall under the CIS zoning, which also means they will fall under the plat committee. So again, refresh everyone's memory, what I'm going to do as the ward councilman and as president of the redevelopment commission, because Eddie, there's a $4 million bond issue out there with Holiday. And I think I said at the workshop, I am going to convene a meeting of the redevelopment commission as well as the plan commission so that you guys have an opportunity, because if I don't do that, that plat committee, when Eddie's ready, he only has to go to the plat committee, which is a 5-member committee that we established, and they'll subdivide the property for him. We won't see this after tonight. Okay? It's going to come to Marge and Jeff and I at the council, but after tonight, it would go to the plat committee whenever he decides to start going into different things. Holiday brings in plats to Sheila and Steve all the time, and they're going to subdivide a parcel possibly next Tuesday night. So as a courtesy to you guys to be able to see this, and Rick, talk about the cuts, because those were 2 cuts that we talked about with that assisted living. Again, I personally, Eddie, and I'll tell Mike O'Connor and Mike Micka and yourself, I would like to see somehow Connecticut connected in. You're showing it right now on this subdivision as going around Pinnacle Hospital, and then you doing something on the north side of that building 4. I think we need to have Connecticut go through, Steve, to a certain point, and tie into around 96th, which Holiday put in as a part of the Amazon project. That's where the light could possibly go, probably should go, and divert all that Amazon traffic to that light onto Broadway. So I promise you guys, I will, when Eddie gets closer and he lets us know, I will convene a workshop of the redevelopment commission and the plan commission, and we will sit down, we'll go through this. Eddie, I'll tell you in advance, I'm going to invite Micka and O'Connor too from Holiday, so that you guys are everybody's on the same page, and we know exactly what the streets are going to look like as they finish this off. I got to take care of my constituent over there at the law firm, right, Joe?
Oh, definitely.
Hey, Sean, we may want to,
Very valuable.
You are a valuable tenant.
I'm thinking we could do that, sooner rather than later.
All right,
because
you let me
if-
know a
if-
day in December, and
Because if we sit and discuss that now, it could help us with some of our final plans, knowing what.
Right.
What will
Yep.
work for everybody.
Yeah.
And,
because I've also had a constituent to the west, the strip mall. I've had them ask about, are you going to push buildings? Did he call you?
he did.
He did, Nick Shackey?
He did.
All right, because he wanted to know if you were pushing that building all the way up to 93rd, and I said, it's a zone change, Nick. I don't know exactly what the final layout of the buildings are going to be.
Right.
So,
I haven't,
Pat Shackey owns that strip center there, Margie, where the shake place is in there, and the vet center, VA, I can't think of what else
just
is
to
in
the
there.
west of
There's like
this-
4 retail by the Jiffy Lube.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
just west of
just
this
west of
parcel.
Eddie's property. Yeah.
Is Connecticut a private road?
Connecticut is not a private road. Holiday put that in they initially put in Connecticut and all of Georgia with a $10 million bond issue that the redevelopment commission issued.
And there's 4 left.
No, that one's a separate bond issue. We did we've done a lot of bond issues, and you and I can go through all that, not to belabor, but there's 3 or 4 bond issues out of the Ameriplex because of the amount of increment being generated. This is all part of the Broadway TIF Ameriplex allocation area that the redevelopment commission controls.
So, Counselor, our vote tonight is for a positive or negative recommendation to the town council that we change the zoning on this parcel of land, correct?
Correct. Okay, we will have to present this, or you will have to present it in front of the town council, and I believe the redevelopment too with the plat committee, is that correct, Sean?
Well, we'll do a workshop with the redevelopment commission, but it eventually will come to you as the president of the plat committee,
Right.
along with Steve, Sheila, Joe, and is the town manager?
Pat's on there, Bob's on, Bob's
Pat and
with
Bob
us,
are on
yeah.
there? Okay, there's 5 members on the plat committee. So you'll see it eventually when he's ready to
Sure.
subdivide it. But I'll do the courtesy for Brian, Rick, and Luke, so they see, what's going on. You and Jeff and I are on the RDC with
Yeah.
Rich and Leonard.
So
So,
then what we'll do is just wait for it to be presented to these different committees for your zoning change. Is that correct, Counselor?
Correct.
no, we can vote on the zone change now.
Hold
Oh,
on.
we can't
And the
vote on
site
it?
plan,
Zone change now.
zone change now, site plan, we'll have a workshop on.
That's finalized at,
Later,
at
and it's a,
Right.
town council.
okay, take the
This is
vote
a
on the
recommendation
zone
to the
change.
town council.
Right.
I'll make a motion, Madam President, since it's my ward.
Okay, motion on the floor by Mr. Pettit. Could I have a
Second.
Second by Mr. Daring. So we have a motion made for the zone change by Mr. Pettit and seconded by Mr. Daring. All in favor?
Nope.
Roll
Roll call vote.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Holtz, Mr. Pettit,
Yes.
I am a yes.
Hold on, Mr. Holtz didn't vote.
Did I skip you?
You called me, but I didn't answer.
My apologies, Mr. Holtz, I will come back to you.
I was wondering about that.
Well, I'm torn because this is preliminary and are
No,
we saying?
this is zone change. This isn't a preliminary.
Well, zone change, but I thought it said somewhere preliminary.
No, this is strictly a zone change to add it into the rest of the commercial industrial zoning, that is in that area.
Our attorney confirmed that, Mr. Holt.
Okay, I have no problem with the zone change, but I do have a problem with the 2 cuts onto 93rd Avenue.
All right.
Well, you.
So that'll be something at the plat.
Something at the workshop and the plat committee can, and Eddie will take that back.
How do you feel about the zone change, Mr. Holt, with the vote? Yes or no?
Yes.
My apologies to you, Mr. Holtz. All right, back to Mr. Pettit, you were a yes.
I was a yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Deering
Yes.
and Madam President.
Yes. Vote has been all yeses for the zone change, and you will be meeting with redevelopment and the plat next, correct?
Right.
Town council next week.
Town council
Town
next
council,
week when
yes,
we're ready.
Town council next week. Okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Continuing on, is there any other business, board members?
For what?
I have nothing, Madam
No
Chairman.
other business?
That's a joke question, I think.
Oh, what?
What?
Oh, man, what?
What's the question?
Wait a minute, what is the question here?
He just asked me, will the ordinance be going to the town council? And I said, do they have to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals for the variance before the ordinance goes to the town
The
council?
CIS requires a minimum of 100 acres. So
Right.
he's gonna ask for a relaxation of that standard, which he also asked for on the 26 acres, and the BZA granted it. We just don't, you'd have to check and see
I
chronologically,
asked
when
Joe.
did the council vote on it? Should we vote before or after the BZA variance is granted?
I'd say vote after the BZ.
All right, then it'll be the last meeting in December. So it'll be the fourth Tuesday in December, Eddie. I think, well, no, when's the BZA?
The 17th.
But do you
17th,
understand
all right,
that,
yeah.
Eddie? BZA meeting first, then town council?
So you're guaranteed of the relaxation of the 100 acres, and then we'll rezone the 11, okay? Right,
Yes.
right,
For the ordinance.
yeah, end of the year. And then we can meet in January with the citizen members of the commission and the RDC.
Sure.
And we'll get Holiday in there, and we'll get Sheila and Steve in there, and the esteemed Mr. Svetnoff,
Thank you, Mr. Pettit.
Esquire.
Thank you, Sean, for the info. And
Anytime.
This has got the approval from our attorney, correct? BZA.
Correct move.
Okay, thank you. Okay, continuing on, any other business, board members?
There are some folks in the audience, Madam President. Well, I just want to give everybody a shot. Is there anybody that had another issue? I see people didn't come up to the microphone. Do you have any questions?
Here,
Ma'am,
come up to the
you need to,
microphone,
yep.
please.
85th.
Name and address, please.
My name's Diana Malik, and I live on 85th Court. And we got a letter saying that they're gonna build behind us. Like it was gonna be apartments and houses, and so that's
How
why-
long ago did you receive the letter, ma'am?
My husband.
I wonder if that's for Liberty Estates. Fifth Court, West 85th Court would have to be a Liberty Estates.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's dated October 29th.
What was the name of the development? Do you have that?
No, it was just a neighbor sending it out, saying that they heard.
Oh,
Neighbor sent that out to you?
Where exactly on 85th do you live?
The court, like if you go down 85th Avenue.
I mean,
Oh,
85th runs east and west of Broadway.
2941,
west?
Okay.
yeah, west.
You're in Chapel Hill Farms?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
That's-
Then there's a proposal that I think is in limbo right now, Joe, with the development agreement for a project called Liberty Estates.
Right, that's what it says.
Is that what it says in there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's on, right now, I think the development agreement's being reviewed. His attorney is having it reviewed.
Well, no, we reviewed it internally. We sent it out to Pittman
Uh-huh.
to have it reviewed as well. So that's under, we're supposed to get some feedback on the development ordinance itself.
Yeah.
And, on the development agreement, there's been a development agreement sent to,
We haven't acted on the final PUD, have we?
no.
No.
Okay. Because I know, that's why Naomi was asking too. We worry about flooding and drainage and all that.
Okay.
So when do we have to come here then to find out about this?
Well, that hasn't been set on the agenda.
It
Yeah,
hasn't
you're-
been set
They're
on
not
the
even on
agenda
the
yet,
agenda.
We don't have
unfortunately.
anything set on the agenda yet.
Yeah.
The public probably will be notified.
What I would do is I would give your name and address and telephone number to Sheila and
Yeah.
just put it in the file, Sheila, and when Randy starts coming back, we can
Go.
let them know, I guess. I don't know what else to,
Yeah.
Who was the person that wrote you that letter, if I could ask?
Sure, it's Mark Wilkerson.
Oh, what is he, a neighbor?
Yeah.
Is that a neighborhood watch club or something?
I don't know. I think he's newer to the neighborhood, actually. Yeah.
He's on the
Okay.
board, he's on the board of your neighborhood watch? Is that what you said?
So did Matt Lake meet with you guys? I thought he told me he did. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought, because that was the recommendation at the last meeting that we were at with the Weiss, with the Randy Hall. That was the recommendation that you guys meet with Matt Lake, and so he did?
Matt Lake's director of our stormwater.
Stormwater, he met with you guys? Okay,
Okay.
and did he give you direction? Did he?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Give us a map, and
Okay.
way I understand it, they're going to build the apartments she had mentioned on Wicker Street, near Willow, and the single-family homes. They're gonna be by the other existing streets downtown, Chapel Hill and Perry. And then they're gonna have the Corbin and Michael Harris build the upscale apartment building after the single family home. So it's a single family home, apartment, upscale apartment, upscale townhouse, and then the apartments are all over.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that he talked about your drainage concerns, that's all.
Yeah. Plus traffic.
Well, it is a very extensive subdivision that he's pitching, all the way from behind the car dealerships on 30, basically all the way out to, what is the turn there? Out to where Whitcomb turns back around and ends at the other farm. He actually purchased the other acreage so he can have a south exit more towards the government complex. So we're really cognizant of what's going to go on there, but he has not received his final approval yet. And you'll be able to ask questions, at that time, just like we had on the other items this evening.
And I know the big question is where, of course, was drainage was one, and then two was that dead man's curve we
Yeah.
keep talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about that curve and also the drainage. The drainage was something that we really went over again and again when he came to us. And then also that really bad curve there on Whitcomb Street by the parking for the bike path, finding a way to straighten that out.
Did they do anything with that curve, Steve, that you know of?
They haven't done anything yet, but I will speak the drainage portion. It's under review now. It's pretty extensive. There's a lot of work to be done. There's actually two consultants working on that. That's how extensive it is. So it's,
Really?
it's a very large development. There's, several issues in there. So it's.
Yeah, I think
gonna
it's
take
like
some
a
time.
total of 230 acres.
Something like that.
Yeah.
234, something like that, I remember.
Was 82nd the one that's gonna go all the way straight through to Whitcomb?
That was,
What street was that?
I think it was 82nd. I want to say 89.
Or
but it's
85th.
not 89.
85th.
85th, and then they talked about, exiting out onto, to the south, exiting onto 89th down there by the government center. That was a possibility too, so.
Yep.
It's still a work in progress.
It's
There's a
big,
lot
big
to go through
development.
yet.
Okay. Very good.
Is there
Any other?
anybody else out here in the audience that wants to speak? Nobody else wants to speak? Okay, could I have an adjournment motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Second. Motion by Mr. Bryan, seconded by Mr. Bishop.
Good night.
Meeting adjourned at approximately 7:27. Thank you all for attending and